Well, hello again and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my wonderful, gorgeous, smart, hardworking Disney Transformational Song loving wife and co-host Michelle. What's that all about?
I don't know for sure, and it'll be interesting to see how we both interpreted that.
Yes, I'm sure we interpreted it in quite different ways, but we're going to have some fun with today's topic just the same, just like we have fun with all of you out there. Thank you for joining us today. We are recording this episode on Sunday, March 21st, 2021. Not only was yesterday the first day of spring, today is also World Down Syndrome Awareness Day.
Yeah, it's exciting that this is a special day. Means a lot to us. And a shout out to everybody who, you know, whether you have family members, children, or are connected with assisting and being a resource for people with Down syndrome. Thank you all and hope you're having a wonderful day.
Yes, thank you very much. And it's a great day for you to out there to kind of get to know more about what Down syndrome is and how it affects people.
Exactly. And you could do that by checking out the World Down Syndrome Day organization website, .org. And they have some really great touching stories in that website that really are really lovely and inspiring examples of people who really have overcome challenges and have a real great spirit for life.
We're inspired by our son Scott every day, as we are inspired by many of you out there who have the same kind of story going on, all different, but all the same at the same time. So a great day to kind of take a look into that. Thank you for joining us. As I said before, we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there,
you'll have an opportunity to sign up for our newsletter.
Please sign up for the newsletter. It's just kind of another way to be involved with the Hyperion Adventures podcast world, get more information about what we have going on, get our Disney dishes recipe of the week, just so much stuff going on. It's also the first way you can kind of get in contact with us if we want some input on one of the topics that we have similar to today's.
Right. And we share some tidbits sometimes that we don't even discuss on the podcast.
Yes. So be sure and check that out if you get the chance. The other way to be involved with us is on social media. We have a lot of fun with a lot of you out there on social media. Please follow us on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We do have a YouTube channel. Now, once again, this week, this will be going out as another video episode, but it will be another simplified video. That's just because we have some really big things going on right now that are kind of taking up our time during the week. And I just don't have quite the time to be putting into making the full-fledged videos. We do plan on returning to that at some point. It may be 1 week in, 1 week out. But for right now, it's just another way you can listen. But if you're expecting to see us on that and my lovely growing locks, you're going to have to find a different way to do that for this moment. But it's still another way to kind of be involved. And if you're going to find us on we do have old episodes there that we do have our actual videos up and everything. Just do a search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Hit subscribe and you'll know whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
You're talking fast. Whew. Yes, we love to hear from anyone that wants to reach out to us, whether you're participating in some of our surveys or giving input to one of our episodes or just want to say hi. We love hearing from you.
I'm just getting all excited for our topic today.
I can tell. It's
running through all this stuff really quickly. No, I tend to be, this is a funny thing that was from back in my radio days, is that I used to have to, when I would do updates for the sports radio station that I worked at, I would actually have to write on my script, slow down multiple times on there, because I tend to be a fast talker, as those of you who have listened to this podcast kind of know about me. I tend to get excited and I start talking really quickly and it's crazy. So sometimes I need to remind myself to slow down, take it easy, and talk in a much more metered fashion. No, just kidding. But, it is funny.
Well, people need to listen to you at regular speed and not 1.5.
I know there are some people that do listen to this podcast at 1.5 or around that. I can just imagine what I sound like there. I must be like a chipmunk going crazy, Anyway, let's move on to this week's show. We have lots of stuff for you this week, including we now know when we'll have the chance to revisit the happiest place on earth. You know we're going to talk about that. And we received a few more details about the upcoming Jungle Cruise reimagining. We'll talk about that a little bit. And there's another interesting news about cruising that we will talk about as well. But let's get right to our main topic of the week. So yes, this week's topic, you've told us in the past that you love our 5 favorite episodes, but you really love our 5 favorite episodes when they kind of focus around music and music lists and everything. So this week, we're always looking for new, interesting ways to approach this. Some we will revisit eventually, but right now we're looking at a new one, and we thought about like montages, like the classic 80s montage and how some of these songs that we love within these Disney films kind of tie into how a character or a group of characters goes through a transformational situation. It could be for good, it could be for bad, but how it might be interesting that these songs play within them. So this is going to be our 5 favorite transformational Disney songs.
All right. So now I'm a little worried from the get-go. So were you doing all montages?
No.
Oh, okay. Phew.
I just kind of wanted, because, when you say transformational, it's like, what do people think of? Right. And I'm trying to kind of base this in something that a lot of people know. And if you go to the classic 80s, 90s, even today, movies where you see a character, they want the character to show growth within a short amount of time.
Yes.
There's usually like some music playing, some sort of song playing, and they're showing, quick edits of different things going on as they're progressing, Okay. And that doesn't necessarily have to be what this is, but that's kind of just to kind of give you an idea where our base to think of this was. But again, I think that people are going to look like many of these topics, and they're going to come at it from different angles, which I love because I find it fascinating to discuss how you view what transformational is.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good point.
So
okay.
Whenever we do these lists, we always start with Michelle. One, because she's gorgeous, wonderful, all things great in the world. But also, look, my list will be pretty straightforward. I bet you can almost go down and say, yep, it's going to be this song, this song, this song in some sort of order.
Right.
Yeah. Michelle's song will definitely not be that. Or Michelle's list will definitely not be that. So let's get to it. Let's start with Michelle's number 5 favorite transformational Disney song.
Okay. So I did deliberately try to avoid a couple movies that I thought were sure going to be on your list. And not that they're going to have anything that I wouldn't probably agree with you on. It's just I thought, well, let's have something different. And one of the things after I did the list, because I was like you thinking, not necessarily montage, but like, yes, that song that kind of bridges a person or a character from one time period to another. And after I did my list and I looked at it, I said, that's somewhat what I put together, but it's more of either a psychological or emotional transformation where they came to a realization of something. Because I think when, first looking at this topic, I was looking more and I don't want to take something off your list, but my first impression was kind of like in Lion King, the Hakuna Matata, where you're actually seeing Simba grow rather quickly.
Which, I will say is an honorable mention for me. It was on my list for a little bit, but it got bumped off my list.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but anyways, it was more after I had the list together. It's like, oh, this is a little different than what I thought it would turn out to be. And most of them I've noticed were more towards the end of the song where the realization took place in the characters.
Interesting.
Okay.
I can't wait to hear what you've come up with.
So my number 5 transformational song comes from A Nightmare Before Christmas, Poor Jack.
Whoa! What the heck? I went and did my best, and by God, I really tasted something swell. That's right. And for a moment, why, I even touched the sky. And at least I left some stories they can tell. I did. And for the first time since I don't remember when, I felt just like my old bunny self again. And I, Jack, the Pumpkin King. That's right. I am the Pumpkin King. And I just can't wait until next Halloween, 'cause I've got some new ideas that will really make them scream. And by God, I'm really going to give it all my might. Uh-oh. I hope there's still time to set things right. Santa Claus.
So, after he realizes his plans to, partake in Christmas as Santy Claus or Sandy Claus, he comes to the realization it didn't quite work out.
Yeah.
And, it has that devastational moment. And that was another thing I found.
Yeah, it hits the lowest of low right there.
Right. That was another common element that I saw when I reflected on my list is it tended to be when they were at their lowest point, and it drove them to look at the core and find the strength to overcome something. And, and you see that transformation in that song of Jack, where he is just devastated, sad, and then suddenly he starts to realize and come back to, wait, he is important. His holiday is important, and he is the king of that holiday, and that is great, and it re-energizes him to make the next year's celebration even better. And so that's where I kind of saw that one.
Agreed. That's a great choice from a great movie, by the way. But yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from on that, and that's excellent. Good job.
Thank you. I actually wanted to put it higher, but there were other ones.
Yeah, I know. I understand. This was tougher. when we first came up with this, I'm like, oh yeah, this will be easy. Just boom, boom, boom. And these are the ones you expect. And
right.
And when I got into it, I did have things on my list, knock things off on the list, struggled with having to keep things off my list at times because it just didn't quite make it. So it was more difficult than I expected this to be.
Right.
So.
And also, some of these things, in this song in particular, who of us hasn't gone through that, a failure that you just, you just want to stay in bed and just oh my God, that was worse than I could ever expect it to have turned out. So I think the ability that has that connection with our own emotions really helps this.
Yeah. Great choice. Again,
thank you.
Good stuff. So I will tell you that my list is all over the map. I mean, I didn't have a real focus like you did on it. I went everything from, relationship transformation between the two people to a transformation, coming to a point of view from a single person to a classic 80s type montage to make this transformation. Cool. I just went all over the place. I think
your list is going to be exciting.
Yeah, we'll see where we go with this, but I'll go and start with my number 5, which was pretty much a classic 80s style montage, and that comes from Big Hero 6.
'Cause we could be immortals, just not alone. Beneath the river now, the blackout curtains down, just not alone. We could be
So yes, that's Immortals from Fall Out Boy, the pop punk group Fall Out Boy. That song plays when they're it is classic montage when Hero is outfitting the group with all their different special equipment to fit their abilities, and they're learning how to use it and everything. There's even a scene in there where they're using it and there's a statue in the backyard and they cut the head of the statue off. And I don't know if you've ever stopped it or looked and see a freeze frame of it. That is a statue of Hans from Frozen, hashtag Real Man Love Frozen,
Oh, wow.
because this is the Walt Disney Animation Studios film that came out directly after Frozen. So it's just kind of a little homage to that.
Cool.
You know, and we're going to take out the villain of Frozen.
Now I got to go back and look.
So kind of funny, but it's a fun song.
Yes.
I've used it back when I was doing radio imaging. I used it several times within that because I just think it's an interesting song and cool. And, you know, it's excited like we could be immortals.
Right.
You know, and I think it's kind of cool. So anyway, it's just a song that I always loved, and I always loved that part of the movie. And I love Big Hero 6, so that's why I picked that as my number 5 favorite transformational Disney song.
Like it. All right.
So that's my number 5. Michelle's number 5. Let's get to the better number 4. Michelle's number 4 favorite transformational Disney song.
And I really thought, you know, because I've been really good with my list being 5 and only 5, and I thought this one was going to be that. Till I just had the struggle with 2 songs, same movie. I thought they were both transformational in nature and couldn't split them up. And again, wanted the Jack song.
I get it. Totally understand.
Manipulation
Totally
there, whatever.
understand.
I'll be
It's okay.
honest. But
I mean, if no one listens to the show expecting us to only have 5 on our list. I mean, seriously, we've proven by now that will never happen. That will all.
I know.
Not one of us might only have 5. I actually only have 5, but that's one of us will go off the rails, and then we'll add some other, you know, honorable mentions and other things. So a lot of songs get named for sure.
It's our tag, I guess. So my 4A is from a Goofy movie, Nobody Else But You.
Nobody else but you. We've turned into a true blue duo. Hard times we've had a few. Like we're thrown in the drink, like we're tossed out of town. But when I start to sink, hey, I'd rather go down with nobody else but why you? Aw, Dad.
That is my number 4 as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, how funny.
What a coincidence. But yes, but you
Yes.
go ahead and talk about it.
Well, I mean, it's just such a touching. I mean, just listening to it, I'm getting a little teary-eyed. It just, you know, well, first of all, we love Goofy, right?
Of course.
You know, and Max. I think
We love that movie. It's a great movie.
it really is a great movie. And I think Max, you know, he's great in it, but also the allure of Max, because you don't get to see him very much unless you're on a Disney cruise.
Although he's making more appearances in the parks.
True.
Matter of fact, I don't know if you've seen these pictures from A Touch of Disney that's going on right now. There's a place kind of by the Pacific Wharf at Disney California Adventure that has some stairs, and we've seen some people, like there's a table out there. I think if you get a private tour, that we've seen people eating up there for special
sure, I
things
know
or
what you're
whatever.
talking about.
But there's like an overlook over there, and right now they've shown people have taken pictures. It's Goofy and Max up there fishing into the water outside, you know, because they
The
obviously
favorite
from a
cast?
Goofy
I mean,
movie.
what is it? The perfect cast.
Perfect cast. So I think it's classic. But anyway,
that is so cool.
People, Disney has accepted the fact that people really love a Goofy movie and Max and Goofy together, and we're starting to see them much, much more together in the parks.
Definitely. So, you know, I mean, it's just really obviously whether you say father, son, it's just a parent relationship with their child, especially as their child, you know, is starting to, you know, be a teen or older teen even. And, you know, as a parent, you want to just remember them as a child because they are your child. They're going to be like that forever. But it is hard to make that break and let them have some of their own abilities and freedoms. And from a child standpoint is, you want to have that freedom. You want to separate, and you think your parents are dumb. And but it's just like, you realize it is still family and they are still your mentor, and it's just sweet how they did that, how they actually in the movie, how it built to this was really amazing. Yeah.
This is why it's also on my list as my number 4, is because the whole a Goofy movie thing, and you go through it and you almost want to yell at the screen. Would you just talk to one another?
I know, right?
Because they both have points of view, but they're not talking about what they're ideas and what's going on
Right.
in their lives and whatever. And this is where they finally get to the point. And even within this song, it starts off, kind of talking poorly about the other
Right,
one, and it gradually builds to they're talking with one another, they're talking out what the problems, what they're
Right.
going through, and expressing their love for one another finally in this film, and that's what moves the story along to its finale.
Right. It's interesting that you say that how that builds up even within the song, and the recognition of the love, and unfortunately that's sometimes not apparent until it's too late, and I think you were around having a discussion with my sister and brother-in-law about my father. And I remember growing up and all of us kids especially my sisters, just felt my dad was like, oh my God, really? You're going to embarrass us this way or that way, And then reflecting on, some of the things that we at the time felt were really embarrassing were, pretty smart,
Right.
things that
A lot of people are doing now.
Right. Things that would make things easier for us or, and at the time it was just not seeing the real value in what they were
All
bringing.
you're saying is that when you're a teenager or a preteen, last thing you want for most of them is the spotlight shown on you
Right.
to be different than everybody else.
Exactly.
And so, or sometimes you do, but you don't want to actually say that you do. But anyway,
Right.
And so when something like this happens, it's showcasing you to be different. You want to hide your head and you want to put a bag over your
Right,
head or shield your
exactly.
face or whatever, because just kind of what you go through at that stage in your
Definitely.
life.
Definitely. So, kind of linking in also with what you're saying is, how the song in the movie builds to the finale. I'm really having struggles here.
Welcome to my world.
And that's where my 4B came into place, which is eye to eye.
If we listen to each other's heart, God will never too far apart. And maybe love is the reason why, for the first time ever, we're singing it eye to eye. Singing it eye to eye. Singing it eye to eye, baby. For the first time.
And, I just,
Such a great song, by the way.
It is.
It's worth of playing every episode just because it's such a great song.
So, just some of the lyrics that really call to that message, like if we listen to each other's heart, we'll find we're never too far apart. So, I can't read anymore.
Oh my goodness.
But
Just wait till we get to our volume 2 of our Disney songs that make us cry. If we're getting crying about transformational songs.
Exactly. But, where they say for the first time we're seeing eye to eye. And,
Yeah.
Again, it's just where they start having that conversation together. They're realizing they do love each other. And now they've communicated and listened to each other enough to really start seeing things the same way.
No, it makes sense that you tied those two together because they do work together in many regards. So
thank
very
you.
good.
All
good
right.
job. So I've already given you my number 4. It was the same as Michelle's, her 4A anyway, which was Nobody Else But You from a Goofy movie. So let's go right back to Michelle with her great list and find out her number 3 favorite transformational Disney song.
All right. So my number 3 comes from Beauty and the Beast, Evermore.
Now I know she'll never leave me, even as she fades from view. She will still inspire me, be a part of everything I do. Wasting in my lonely tower, waiting by an open door. I'll fool myself, she'll walk right in. And as the long, long nights begin, I'll think of all that might have been, waiting here forever.
So yeah, that one,
Powerful song.
it is powerful. a real treasure from Alan Menken and Tim Rice. Interestingly, Menken felt the Beast was the protagonist and really needed to have his own solo song. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, you can see in this song where the Beast really does break away from his selfish inner feelings about everything and realizes he can love and give love. And, sadly, he's realizing it at the time where he's feeling so passionate towards her that he knows he has to let her have her freedom. And that freedom for her, even though it's a gift from him, is also what could make him remain Beast forever.
Right. So, I mean, it's an act of love.
Yeah,
it's an ultimate act of love.
sacrifice, yes.
You have to sacrifice something to show that you're willing to give yourself completely to this person.
Right,
So,
yeah.
I totally get it. So, and it's a good choice. A very transformational song.
Yeah.
Nice choice.
Well, thank you. Interestingly, I read when I was researching this, somebody pointed out something that I hadn't thought about with this song that I thought was pretty interesting, is that this song shows the reversal of the traditional, princess locked in a tower. He is locked in his tower.
That's true.
He's the prisoner of his tower.
Yeah, that's true. Even though he tried to keep her prisoner
Right.
This time, but
So
yeah, it's a good point.
interesting little twist.
Yeah.
So what about your number 3?
My number 3 comes from a film that is near and dear to our heart, released within the last year. You know it. You love it.
What do you want, Bert? What do you want, Bert? If you say it for nothing, Bert, what do you fall for?
I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens. And close your eyes.
They're gonna lead us to safety day.
We don't get a say in what they trade away.
We dream of a brand new start.
But we dream in the dark for the most part. Dark as a tomb where it happens. I've got to be in the room where it happens. I've got to be where it happens. I've got to be where it happens. I've got to be in the room where it happens. I gotta be where it happens. Click, boom.
So yes, my number 3 favorite transformational Disney song is "The Room Where It Happens" from Hamilton.
song. Yeah.
It is a great song. Show-stopping number in the
Yes.
second act of Hamilton for sure. But more importantly, this is the point in the whole story where Burr transforms from being what the Burr was before that, the wait for it
Right.
Burr, to trying to do things kind of like Alexander
Right.
Hamilton, taking advantage of situations because he he decides he needs to be in the room where it happens. And this is what propels things from there on out to the end finale.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you can really see, I guess there's somewhat of a compliment, right? If you try to be like somebody else. I mean, but it does show that he was recognizing that his method of approaching things was not propelling him further along in his career and his, what he wanted to gain. And so he really delved into looking at himself and seeing what needed to be done differently.
Yeah, he was always a character throughout the first act and about half of the second act, where he's pretty much thinking things through before he'll take a step in any direction, trying to weigh what is really best for him. Whereas he finally decides this isn't working for him. I need to be, involved in things. I want to be in that position, in the room where it happens. And so then he's acting more spontaneously, just kind of grabbing
Right.
opportunities where he can. And, it's a definite shift, a definite transformation for Aaron Burr for sure. And like I said, it leads to the last steps of this play, this musical.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally get that. It's interesting because, putting that like in the work world, I've actually heard a comment recently or term called GETMO, good enough to move on. And I think that kind of reflects that too. It's like, because I'm one of these people who really likes to delve and look at data and, look at processes. And sometimes it slows things down trying to analyze things so meticulously and realizing, you can still have successes without getting that deep into the weeds of trying to, review something, just get to it and do it.
It is always that balancing point of, when do you go at things spontaneously and when do you analyze things? Because, you go through things and do things on a whim or at the moment, and it could harm you. You could, lose out on something that could have, if you had waited or looked at things, looked at other options later. And there's also the times if you analyze things so significantly, you could lose out on an opportunity that goes by the wayside while you're too busy trying to think things. It's always trying to find that balancing point in the middle.
Right.
And I think it's funny because I tend to be the more spontaneous one of the two of us, are more on a whim thing, and you tend to be the more of the analyzer of things.
That's
not
true.
that we don't at times both do the opposite, but it's not. We kind of found a balance between the two of us because I will get you to jump at things a little quicker sometimes, and sometimes you put the reins on me in a good way, trying like, look, we need to think about this a little bit before we jump into something so significant. So we found
a good balance.
We found a good sweet spot between the two of us for sure.
That's very accurate. So cool.
Interesting. So good stuff. So that is my number 3
Love it.
favorite transformational Disney song. Let's get to the real number 2 favorite transformational Disney song. Michelle's number 2.
Okay, my number 2 comes from Aladdin, the live action version, Princess Jasmine singing Speechless.
Trying to lock me in this cage. I won't just lay me down and die. I will take these broken wings and watch me burn across the sky. Hear the echoes saying I won't be silenced. Though you wanna see me tremble when you try it, all I know is I won't go speechless, speechless. 'Cause I'll breathe when they try to suffocate me. Don't you underestimate me? 'Cause I know that I won't go speechless. All I know is I won't go speechless, speechless.
Yeah, so talk about powerful songs.
Yes,
That
it
is
really is
really
really
a powerful song. So I'm going to make one comment. It has nothing to do why I selected this song, but every time I hear this song, I think of James Bond. It just has
It does have a James Bond
sound to
yes.
it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I completely agree with that. This could be the entrance song to a James Bond movie.
Right?
Wouldn't blink an eye at it.
Yeah, especially if you just listen to the music and not necessarily the lyrics. But, in the original animated film, which we also really, really love, it does focus on Jasmine's fight to be able to have her own choice of her husband. It's nice to see in the live action, and it's surprising, I'm really praising. It was one of the live actions, I think, that we saw that we said, yes, this is equally great.
I don't know if it's equally great, but it was, and we took a long time before we finally watched it. And when we watched it, we're like, well, it's one of the better live action remakes for sure. And we enjoyed it extremely.
Right. I guess equally great too. And some of the things that it was able to pull in that the other one didn't. And that's related to Jasmine. And, as I mentioned, at that point in this film, she's not only struggling with wanting to have a voice of who she's going to live with, but also you can tell she is reflecting on her position and that she does have a kingdom, and how is she going to break the traditions to improve things for the people of her kingdom. And, that she did get to see that firsthand, and she realizes things do have to change. And the bravery of wanting to come forward and say, hey, traditions are great if they have a purpose, but if they become oppressive, let's look at how they need to be modified, So the other interesting thing in this song is the director wanted to do the scene all in one continuous shot. So one take.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Right?
I will say that the first time we watched this, this should come as no surprise to anybody. When that song came on, I was in tears because it was so powerful and beautiful and just and shot so well.
Right.
And it just, I was really, I love when songs and scenes touch you emotionally, when there is the power behind it. And this was one of those songs and one of those scenes that really struck me.
Yeah. I mean, again, you see her at her lowest low, like she's about to drown in essence, and what's going to happen of all the things that are about to happen to her, and feeling that she doesn't have control, that she's in a hopeless situation, and then realizing no, she does have heart, she does have the strength and the power at her core to come and move forward, and realizing she has to do things to do that.
Really great. It's a great choice and a great song, and another one that I'm happy to play anytime. It's
yeah, I know. I love
song.
it. Love it.
A great addition to that movie for sure. So.
Okay, you're number 2 now.
Well, my number 2. Well, I'm done going off the wall here at all. The next 2 are going to be. You could probably just. You could say what they're going to be.
I know what they are.
We'll start with
imagine.
We'll start number 2, and it's from Mulan.
We must be swift as the coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon, with all the strength of raging fire, mysterious as the dark side of the moon. We must be swift as the coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon, with all the strength of a raging fire, mysterious as the dark side of the moon.
Another song that's classic 80s montage right in it. We see this kind of bumbling group of recruits, people that were drafted into this army to be a part of this troop. Bumbling around, stumbling, having trouble, including Mulan, of course, And then by the end of it all, they're a fine-tuned machine bouncing around and doing all these great things military-wise. And it's a strong song, great song, sung by Donny Osmond, by the way. And it really, to me, is, when you're looking at 80s montages or transformational songs, it's just one of the epitomes of that, because it's great. I love it.
No, I do too, and it definitely made my honorable mentions. I
think it would have been on your list if you didn't know that I was going to have it on my list.
Right. And so it's also just how creative, just the undertone of "Be a Man," when that was the whole thing about Mulan, trying to fool everybody that she was a man, so it was just a great play on words as well. And it did show that great transformation of, them becoming, like you said, a fine-tuned military group.
Yeah. So that's why it's my number 2. A great song. Love it. We'll stop. It's one of those songs that will get me singing along with it every time it comes on, or, if it's on. Well, of course, if Mulan's on the television, we're watching it because we love Mulan very much.
Right.
But not as much the live action, by the way, but the animated one. Love the animated Mulan for sure. So that's my number 2. But enough messing around here. Let's get to Michelle's number 1. Her favorite transformational Disney song.
Are you able to guess it?
No, I have no idea where
your
list is. No, I'm not sure.
Wow.
I have no idea.
Okay. My number 1 transformational song comes from Phineas and Ferb, Candace Against the Universe, called Us Against the Universe.
We're strong, and though we sometimes disagree, we're all together.
I knew. I was wondering. I'm like, I told her just yesterday. I'm like, I don't know which Phineas and Ferb song you're going to go with, but I know there's going to be one on your list. I didn't know it was going to be number one, but I know there was going to be one on your list. So, great choice. Please tell us why.
Thank you. Well, what can I say? Okay. It may not be the very best song. There are other songs on my list that were maybe better quality, but it's definitely one I can totally relate to. Candace is a character that, and you and I have talked about this, I really identify her with, all her self-doubts and, how she has a real unusual interpretation of situations and events. Let's just say that, that's pretty close to my heart, because I kind of feel that way too a lot of times. And it's funny because watching Phineas and Ferb and how she's reacting or interpreting things, I'm always like, don't do that. Don't again, like how she in other episodes, like how she tries to analyze her relationship with her boyfriend and why does he love her? Or, it's like, don't analyze.
Yeah.
It's all good. Just be
Just
yourself.
go along with the ride.
Just be yourself. And it's just, if the voice in my head could be the same to me,
Right.
and that would be really, really great. But, it's just fun to hear that song and see how she came to the transformational understanding that, none of us can do things alone, and that we are stronger together. And I even love in the song how they talk friends are like family, and that we really do need to be able to conquer things better and have more successes and more happiness by sharing that with our friends, our family, whoever,
It's a great point from a great movie, by the way. The one that came out within the last year in Disney Plus. And if you haven't checked it out yet, please check it out. It's really good. But yeah, it's a great choice.
Just a powerful song.
Michelle's number one, always the best number one, and the most interesting. It's going to be interesting when it comes from Michelle. So,
Okay, your number one.
my number one. Well, as we all know,
My power flurries through the air into the ground. My soul is spiraling in frozen fractals all around. And one thought crystallizes like an icy blast. I'm never going back. The past is in the past. Let it go. Let it go. When I rise like the break of dawn. Let it go. Let it go. That perfect girl is gone. Here I stand in my light of day. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway.
come on, you all knew it. I mean, you probably all said it at the beginning. Well,
Right.
where's Tom going to put
Right.
Let It Go? It's bound to be number one, right? Of course. Let It Go from Frozen, total transformation
Yes.
from Elsa at that point. Excellent song. Fantastic song. This is the Elsa's shift from the kind of young lady whose world was dominated by fear. Thanks, Dad. To a strong, confident woman,
Right.
that is like, look, unfortunately, she's decided, it's for good or bad. She's decided, I'm just going to go out there and be myself. I have to be on my own to do that
Right.
because I'm afraid that I might, hurt somebody or whatever. But here where I am, I'm going to embrace who I am. And
Right.
that's exactly what she does at that moment. And it's an absolute anthem of a song.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a spectacular
definitely.
song,
Yeah.
so.
Totally great song. I mean, like you said, it's just a wonderful song, and the message is really, really beautiful. Like you said, that coming to yourself. That again, she's at a low. She's feeling just so overwhelmed with everything, and and yet then again finds that hey, she has something to say. She has and she is powerful, and that's a good thing, not something to be afraid of, something to embrace and make things better with.
She's spent much of her life trying to downplay or stay away from or keep hidden the things that are not everything is special
Right.
about her, but this one particularly overwhelming special thing about her. Thanks, Dad. And again, she finally is like, no, I'm going to embrace this. This is me. This
Right.
is who I am. I'm going to let it all go and be me.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for everybody to, again, it was for good or bad for her. It was good for her to be able to do that. Although, she has family and she learns that, it's better to be with family.
Right.
And it's okay. I can still be myself and be with the people I love as well. And I
Right.
don't have to be out here on my own. But
Right. Well, I mean, again, when you're first going through that and coming to the realization that you do want to accept yourself and love yourself, you do need that alone time
Sure.
first to really, get a real way to embrace it and understand that emotion. And then you can, which is what she does later. She does then go and be within the community of her kingdom.
yeah, with the help of Anna and
Yeah.
Christoph and Sven and Olaf and everybody else.
Yeah. So
good
great
stuff.
list,
So,
honey.
thanks. Your list was much better. Much more
I
interesting
don't
than
know
my
about
list. but,
that.
a lot of fun. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say this. # Real Men Love Frozen.
That's
So,
right.
I'm wearing my Real Men Love
I
Frozen
noticed
t-shirt
that.
right now. To bring that up. And there was one Frozen song that almost made Frozen 2 song that almost made my list. I'll bring that up in a little bit here, but I just couldn't fit it in with everything else.
Yeah.
I didn't want to overwhelm the list with Frozen.
Right.
You know me.
There was one song that I have on my honorable mention that I actually very surprised wasn't on your list.
We'll see if that comes up here. But let's get to some of our listeners' input.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, we did have some people chime in on this. Again, this is another topic that I think was so broad and
Confusing?
tough to, maybe a little confusing, but so maybe some people didn't quite chime in as much, kind of understand what the topic really was. But we did get some people chime in, and of course, we had our great friend Jonathan hit us up on
Nice.
Instagram, who is his handle on Instagram is at Vinyl and Disney because
Yes.
he collects albums, collects vinyl, especially Disney vinyl.
So jealous.
So he was right up there. As a matter of fact, if you go and find him, he posted a great picture along with this post that had he picked out the specific albums and posted them
my
up there. Yeah,
gosh.
I haven't shown you yet. But you
Yeah.
have to check it out. But we really appreciate you, Jonathan, and all you did to
Yeah.
help us with this topic and all you do every week to help us with our topics. So here's what he said. He said, I had a hard time getting mine down from a top 10, but here's my list. Number 5 is from Hercules.
Who was the gladiator? Hercules. Who's down deep a great theater? Hercules. Is he bold? Is he sweet? Our favorite flavor? Hercules. My man. Hercules. That's my soul. Kurt was on a roll. Undefeated. Riding high. And the nicest guy. Not conceited. He was a novice. Zero. Now he's a hot guy. He's a hero. He takes the right to break it. Speed. Come see what a hero. Hercules a hero. Now he's a hero. Yes, indeed.
So yes, of course, Zero to Hero from Hercules.
Nice.
Great shots of him kind of evolving within. He's been his first win as a hero and kind of showing how people are loving him and taking
Starting to
all
know
this
him,
and
yep.
and getting to it. It is another great transformational
Yes.
song. There's actually a few that could have come into play from Hercules,
Right.
but that's another great choice. Jonathan goes on to say number 4 is from Beauty and the Beast, Something There, of course, that wasn't there before.
Right.
That was kind of showing that where Belle is starting to understand
Right.
that, he's not exactly what I thought of him at first.
Sure.
He's sweeter than I thought.
Exactly.
He's more general. So that's another transformation. Number 3 is from Moana. It's called, and I'm going to totally butcher this, so I apologize in advance, Logo Te Pate, which is when she learns to kind of how to be a wayfinder,
Right.
so she's there with Maui and learning how to kind of navigate the ocean
Right.
or whatever. And it's a great
It
tune
is.
in the background of that. Love that song. It's a great choice. Number 2 is from Tarzan, and I think is another wonderful selection.
And all the things you dreamed of, the visions that you saw. Well, the time is drawing near now. It's your
So yeah, Son of Man from Tarzan. It kind of shows him from being very young Tarzan to
Right.
growing up into strong
Right, yes,
Tarzan, we
yes.
know later. So another great transformational song. So and finally, his number one is from Mulan, of course, Make a Man Out of You. And he also said he had so many honorable mentions, but I'll limit it to just one, which is I'm Still Here by the Goo Goo Dolls from Treasure Planet, which I have to admit, I've seen Treasure
Oh,
Planet, but a
yeah.
long time ago. I love the Goo Goo Dolls, so let's take a little listen to that song. So kind of the character theme behind the lead
Right.
character, Jim, within Treasure Planet. So
Great choice.
yeah, that's a
At
great
least for
choice.
an honorable mention,
It's a
too.
great song, you know. And like I said, I love the Goo Goo Dolls, so that's why I wanted to be sure and play it. So thank you, Jonathan, as always,
Yeah,
for
bravo.
chiming in with that. He also put on his Instagram out there for others to respond to it with some of their favorites, and we did get a few responses from a couple people. We'll start with @Elliot's Vinyl. On Instagram, said Zero to Hero and Son of Man
Nice.
for me. Also at A Graves in the Northern Sky said, if we're talking soundtrack score, Beast transformation back into Adam is a gorgeous piece of music. Otherwise, I'd go with Reflection from Mulan or Speechless from the live action Aladdin
Nice,
show. If they fit into the criteria of transformational songs. They are great good
Yes.
choices for sure. Another that hit us up on Instagram was Hakuna Matande, which I believe is Michael and Kelsey, who have been big supporters of our show and really
Yes.
appreciate that. You can find them at Hakuna Matande. And they said, easy. Go the Distance from Hercules. That's another great choice. As we said, there could be many from
Right.
Hercules. Of course, we already brought this one up, but let's go ahead and, since it's kind of in their name.
It means no worries for the rest of your days.
It's all problem-free philosophy.
Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna
Definitely a great
Yeah.
transformational song, as you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier.
Right.
You actually
First that
see
came to
Simba,
my mind, yes.
Simba transform within it, and it was on my list for a long time, and I just pushed it off near the end. So, great choice. They also go on to say "Strangers Like Me" from Tarzan, which is another great
Yep.
one because it kind of shows the transformation as Tarzan is learning about other humans
Right.
around
Yes.
the world, and also Jane learns a little bit from Tarzan about the gorillas.
Right,
So
right.
it's kind of a cool transformational song there. The Bare Necessities from the Jungle Book, always a favorite of ours as
Right.
well.
That made it on my honorable mentions as well.
Good job. And also another song that I want to play just because, well, we kind of really like Billy Joel.
Why should I worry? Tell me, why should I care? Say I may not have a dime, oh, but I got three South out there. Why should I worry? Why should I care? Yeah, it's just too much relation, and I got three South out there.
Everything goes, everything fits.
They love me at the Chelsea, they adore me at the Ritz. Why should I worry? Why should I care? Yeah.
So yes, Why Should I Worry
Right.
from Oliver and
Nice.
Company, of course.
Nice.
And again, Billy Joel.
Yeah.
I had to play it just because it's Billy Joel.
Exactly.
So thank you, Michael and Kelsey. Hakuna Matande.
Yeah.
Great choices there. Finally, from Facebook, we got a response from Will on Facebook
Nice.
saying, I can go the distance from
Yes.
Hercules. So
Very good.
great selections, everybody. Do you have any other honorable mentions that haven't been brought up earlier?
A couple. So one from Pocahontas, which was if I never knew you, and it is a love song, but it also, if you look at the lyrics, really also showed that they understood meeting and connecting with each other showed them another side of situations, and that they were richer because of that.
Oh, very nice.
So,
Good,
yeah.
Good.
And the other one, which I was really surprised wasn't on your list at all, was from Moana, which is I Am Moana.
Oh, yeah. I thought about it. I didn't feel like... See, it's an inspirational song to me. I didn't...
True.
It wasn't
Maybe
as...
not
it-
transformational.
it did kind of transform at that moment, but it was something she already felt inside her, so that's why I kind of left it off.
That
But
makes
it's-
sense.
It's a song that gets me every time.
Right, it's phenomenal.
So I love that. Yeah, I think that is a great choice, and I did think about it. I just ended up leaving it off.
That
at
makes
the
sense. I
moment,
can
so,
see that. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that,
those are my other than ones we mentioned already. What about you?
well, for my other honorable mentions, how about from Princess and the Frog? One, just a
Yes.
great catchy song, but
Right.
also kind of, telling the main characters, look, you got to get involved a little. Yes, you've worked hard,
Right.
but you need to dig a little deeper,
Right,
get
yes.
more out of it. And we see Princess Tiana and Prince Navi, and I guess he's just Tiana at that point, but understand, obviously Tiana needs to do a little bit more, but also Naveen needs to kind of understand what he likes and not just kind of go live things as they come.
Right.
Put in the effort
Right.
to make things happen the way you want them to happen. So I
Right,
thought
right.
That was a transformational moment within
That
that
is
movie.
true. Yeah, because kind of like what we saw with the Beast, things could have just always come naturally or easy for you, and then what's important in life may take more effort.
So that's why I thought that was a possibility
Yeah.
of a song as
Good.
well. I think I See the Light from Tangled is a transformational song in the fact that that is kind of the moment within that they transform from going to their goals. She just wants to see the floating lanterns. He just wants to get this all done so he can get that tiara.
Right.
And that is the moment where it transforms. Not that it wasn't building to that point,
Right.
but that is the actual moment where it kind of transforms into love
Sure.
for one another. So
Right.
that's kind of where I kind of had that in there, and not enough to make my list,
Right.
but I thought it deserved
Yeah.
to be mentioned. How about You Can Fly from Peter Pan? That transformed
yes.
from being ground-based
Right.
into flying around and off to Neverland. I thought it was cool. From Coco, Un Poco Loco, I kind of where
Oh, yeah.
Miguel kind of transforms from, yes, he wants to be a performer,
Right.
but he still doesn't quite know what to do. And you even see him on stage
Right.
start going up there to begin with, and he's a little hesitant or whatever. And then by the end of it, he is jamming it out on
Right.
stage. He is the
True.
performer he wants to be. He transforms at that moment.
That's true.
And finally, well, as we all know,
Show yourself, step into your power, grow yourself into something new. You are the one you've been waiting for. Show yourself.
course,
Yes.
Show Yourself from Frozen 2. It had to be on there. It's another great song,
Right.
really important song, and it completes Elsa's transformation, into the woman that she's finally become.
Right.
She finally fulfilled who she should be.
Yes.
And so it's another terrific
No, that is a
transformational
great
song.
one. Yes. That was hard to leave off a list.
Yes, I had it on my list for the longest time. I just decided I wanted to go for only one Frozen
Right.
song, on my list, knowing that very well that I was going to get to play it at some other point. So there we go. So great list, Michelle's list, fantastic list. Thanks for all your help out there. And if you have a favorite transformational Disney song that you'd like to share with us, please hit us up and we'll share it on an upcoming show.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is our 5 favorite transformational Disney songs. Again, love the music episodes. We always have a lot of
Yes.
fun, and it's always interesting to see where people come from at these different topics, how they hit them from a kind of a different approach, including just the two of us.
Right. How do you understand that word?
And another thing is typical of these episodes, we always run long whenever we do them. So let's quickly get to the Disney stories of the week. And I'm going to start with, of course, we now know when we'll have the chance to finally return to the happiest place on earth. We are so very, very excited. This from the Disney Parks blog. After being closed for more than 1 year, magic is finally returning to the Disneyland Resort theme parks. Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure Park are planning to officially reopen to the public on April 30th with limited capacity, of course. So that's when it happened, when it came out on what was it, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, immediately hit you up because just
Yes.
so exciting. I was pretty much in tears here at home at the news.
Yeah, it was so great to hear for a lot of reasons. Obviously, in the big scheme, a big picture of life, that it's showing, some return to, pre-COVID times. But just for the sheer desire of wanting to go back to Disneyland, it's like so exciting.
Yes, very excited about it. Still no details about purchasing tickets yet or getting a park reservation yet. Both parks will be open. I have a feeling there will be no park hopping to begin with, at least initially. So you'll be picking a park that you want to go to on whatever day. And that's going to be tough because right now, if it were to open today, it would be at 15% capacity.
Right.
It may still be that way on April 30th. There is a small possibility that if the tier changes within the county, that it may move up to like 25% capacity, but that is going to be very limited. And as we've discussed many times on the show, there are so many people within a very short radius, a very short drive time to get there. It's going to be a rush to get those passes. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just with the current touch of Disney that's going on right now, how quickly that sold out. Getting a ticket there to go to Disneyland at the beginning of its opening is going to be a real challenge. And interesting, I was reading on their website that staying at a Disney resort, which right now the only resort that will be open is the Grand Californian, both as the hotel resort side as well as the
Disney Vacation Club.
The first one is opening on May 1st and the other one May 2nd. That does not guarantee you park reservation. So interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's going to be, I don't know, maybe you'll have a little bit earlier access. I don't know if Legacy Pass holders will have a little earlier access. Who knows? We just don't know, but hopefully we'll find out very soon. Also, by the way, it's going to only be, at least to begin with, limited to California residents going into this park. So trying to, but there's plenty in Southern California. As I mentioned, millions and millions and millions of people within Southern California that could possibly go. So it won't be any problem filling out that 15 to 25%, depending on what it is once they get started.
Right. I mean, they also are saying cast members and I guess some of the bigger social media teams will get to go first. And I don't know if that first means April 30th or if they're going to be doing some soft openings.
I think they're going to be doing some soft openings from what it sounded like. No, I don't know. But by the way, Disneyland, we would love to be out there
I
for a
know.
soft
We're-
opening.
we're
Just let us
super
know.
big.
We're super big. We have such a large following. All 5 of our listeners want to hear us go to Disneyland.
Right?
So if you'd like to invite us, we'd appreciate that. But either way, we will try and get out there as our soonest possibility that we can. We decided not to do a touch of Disney with the thought that Disneyland would be reopening very
Right.
soon, and we didn't want to pay the double price. So
Right.
we decided to wait off, save that money for once Disneyland reopens. And we will be going out there. And when we do get in there, we will be telling you all
Yeah.
about it here on the show.
It will be interesting to see which groups they are, from social media that they are bringing in, because again, you have to be a Disney, California resident.
Right.
So
We'll see. We'll see how
Yeah.
it goes. So looking forward to seeing more news about that as it comes. We will have that for you when we find out more about it. Moving on, we received some more details about the reimagining of the Jungle Cruise this week, and in particular, few extra story points. So this again from the Disney Parks blog. He said, as we shared earlier this year, we are building on the original story of the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland Park and Magic Kingdom Park. We're adding more humor, wildlife, and skipper heart to the classic attraction. And as part of a much larger effort, this updated experience will welcome new characters from around the world. The enhancements include several new scenes guests will experience along the river, all interconnected. Our world-famous skippers will continue to share the unique adventure and interaction guests expect on the Jungle Cruise. And they say the new scenes will heighten our skippers' legendary comedic tone, beginning with a trap safari party that finds itself up a tree after their journey goes awry. Unexpected scenarios along the way will give the jungle and animals the last laugh. So if you're looking for a deeper dive into it, they say in this, we're also expanding the attraction's backstory centered around Alberta Falls,
Wow.
who is the granddaughter of world-renowned Dr. Albert Falls, you may know.
yes.
Yes. As the proprietor of the Jungle Navigation Company Limited. So they go in through a whole kind of interview, like it's like a
Wow.
newspaper type interview in this. I will post the link on the show notes. I'm not going to read the whole thing for you here, but there's a lot of stuff that's kind of backstory behind her parents, behind some other possible characters that we may be seeing in the Jungle
Right.
Cruise. Definitely check it out when you get the opportunity on the Disney Parks blog. And again, I'll have the link in the show notes so you can find it. But
Cool.
it's really cool stuff. And I love that they're building on story of the Jungle Cruise.
Yeah. Disney knows how to tell stories, and it's great when their attractions get a little bit more involved that way.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for whenever the Jungle Cruise reopens. I don't know if they're working on the Jungle. I'm sure they're working on it right now on the Jungle Cruise in Disneyland Park. I never heard anything say that will be open,
Right.
At least with reimagined opening by the time we get to go to Disneyland. But
Right. It hasn't been mentioned in
yeah.
the list of things that will be.
So we'll see. There's no official timeline on that, but as soon as we find out when they'll be reopening both, we will let you know. So moving on from one cruise line to another, Disney Cruise Line announced its summer 2022 itineraries this week. Lots of interesting stuff came from this. This from a Disney Cruise Line press release. Disney Cruise Line will offer families exciting adventures around the world in summer of 2022, including voyages to new destinations and favorite ports of call in the Greek Isles, Mediterranean, Northern Europe, Alaska, and the Caribbean. Plus, first ever summer departures from Miami will take guests to Disney's enchanting private island in the Bahamas, Castaway Cay. Now, this is interesting from the Disney Cruise Line blog, who does they're not tied officially with Disney Cruise
Right.
Line, but he does a great job
Yes.
of getting Disney information out there. He pointed out a few facts from the announcement, in particular that the Disney Wish was not included in this release. However, he says based on the process of elimination, the Disney Wish is expected to take over the 3 and 4 night Bahamian sailings from the Disney Dream at Port Canaveral. So know that going in, that looks like when the Disney Wish gets started, it will be doing those 3 and 4 night sailings.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. The other thing he brought up is that with the Disney Wish taking over that role, the Disney Dream will be moving to Miami in Florida out of that port, and essentially taking over the itineraries that the Disney Magic has been sailing oftentimes. Only now it looks like Disney Dream will kind of be based there year round,
Right.
at least
Makes
at
sense.
least to begin with.
Right.
So that's kind of cool. So I'm not not going to go through all the sailings. They're all out there for you to check out right now, but it's kind of cool. It's pretty much what you expect. The Fantasy is doing the Western and Eastern still out of Port Canaveral. The Wonder is doing their usual trip over to Alaska and doing, hopefully going back to Alaska in 2022 and everything. So lots of great itineraries out there. Definitely great for you to check them out. Now, if you're looking to book any of these dates, here is when you can do it. If you're a Platinum Castaway Club member or some of our all those listeners that we have that are from Disney's Golden Oaks, we have lots of listeners from the Golden Oaks. You'll be able to do your booking tomorrow, Monday, March 22nd. That's at 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Nice.
All these start off at 8 a.m. Eastern time. If you're a Gold Castaway Club member, it'll be on Tuesday, March 23rd. Silver Castaway Club members, Adventures by Disney Insiders, and DVC members who have not previously sailed with Disney Cruise Line can book on Wednesday, March 24th, and the general public will be open to book on Thursday, March 25th. So exciting stuff.
Yeah.
More great itineraries. We cannot wait to get back on Disney Cruise.
Right. No, I know. It's so funny how I lived in Miami for a long time. And there was no Disney cruise there. It was, up at Port Canaveral. And now.
A few hour drive away, but
yeah,
not bad.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah. But that's cool news. So looking forward to doing many more Disney cruise sailings in 2022, and we have one still booked for 2021, the end of 2021.
Right.
So we're
Very
hoping
end.
that one does go through. So we'll see how that goes. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation. And we always start with Michelle, one, because she's gorgeous, wonderful, intelligent. She has the very best list, but she also has the very best tip. So let's get to it. Here is Michelle's tip of the week.
Well, thank you, sweetie. This is a very quick, short tip. If you've ever had like a really good night's sleep at one of the Disney resort hotels, or you come home and you just want to have some of that Disney magic in your house, you are in luck. You can purchase one of the same types of mattresses. And surprisingly, the resorts don't all use the same mattress. So if you go to Plan Disney, there's already several listed there. You just, can put in a search for mattresses and you'll see the ones that have been already confirmed what type of mattress they are. But if they don't have from the resort you have been to or want to replicate, then you can pose that question to Plan Disney.
Nice. We have one.
We do.
That we purchased early in the summer. And we love it very much.
Right. It was the same kind they use in Bay Lake Tower.
Which was near and dear to our heart.
Yes. But it's interesting. Like I said, there's different brands, whether it be Beauty Rest or Sealy or Serta, and they'll tell you the specific one it is, but it's interesting that they do have different ones.
And the prices aren't bad.
Yeah, no,
they're not crazy priced.
Yeah.
They're good beds.
Right,
So
right.
definitely check that out. So great tip. Michelle's tip, always the best tip. My tip, I'm going back to one I always break out at the same time, or at least whenever we hear about new Disney Cruise Line sailings being released, new itineraries being released.
Okay.
And that is when they come out, when you have your first opportunity to book them, my tip is that if you're thinking about doing any of these sailings, to book them at the earliest time you can. One, because that is almost always when the best price is. As
Right.
those ships start to fill up, the prices tend to go up.
Right.
So I suggest that you take advantage of it, even if you're just considering it, as long as you have enough money to put down a deposit, which is usually about 20%. Sometimes there are some deals on deposits, but usually it's about 20% of the total fare. Then do it, because even if you decide later on that you don't want to do it, up until the date of final payment,
Right.
that deposit is fully refundable. Also, if for whatever reason the price of the cruise does drop over what you originally placed it in there, you can always have that changed to the new price up until final payment
Right.
date. So I say take advantage of that. And the other thing I would suggest is using a travel agent, because one, they can handle being on the phone for you or booking this
Right.
stuff and dealing with Disney much easier. You don't pay them a cent. Disney pays them for it. And a lot of times you get a little something extra from it. I can't guarantee every time, and I can't guarantee what it will be. But a lot of times the travel agent will give you something a little extra, whether it's a little Disney gift card, little onboard credit. We've gotten everything from bottles of wine to photo packages to
Flowers.
just flowers to just, some chocolate covered strawberries. It's just something extra that you you didn't pay for anything
Right.
extra. So why not? Plus you have somebody, if something does change or you want to make some adjustments, you have a point,
Right.
a point person that can handle that for you.
Yes, or if you need transfer arrangements and things like that as well. So yeah, that is a really good point, because it's so rare that we see the prices go down, you know, and, you know, unlike some of the Disney World resorts where you see some deals go on sale at times, you don't see that as much with the cruises. And I don't know, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. That, you know, it could be that it becomes really popular fast, and because they're going to have less people on board, that they might not be able to offer the same
Right.
deals that you would normally see in the past.
It'll be interesting. I know that there is a desire from people to go cruising
Right.
again. As much as some people think that they're a little scared of it, there is plenty of people who want to
Yeah,
get
there's
back
still
out
a
there,
demand.
including us. So, you know, jump on that if you're thinking about doing it. It's great. We love it. We've talked about it many times on the show. We love Disney Cruise Line Vacation. It's just a different form of Disney, but you still get all the magic that you enjoy from Disney. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's great. So, another thing, if you book early, you also get the best cabin selection.
That's true.
The earlier you book. So, that's just kind of part of that. So that's it for this week. Next week, well, I don't know if Michelle has looked at our topic calendar yet, but if she hasn't, I'm about to scare her near to death, because I changed our topic for next
You
week.
did?
Yes,
Oh my
yes.
gosh, yeah, because I haven't looked at it
Yes.
in almost a week. So.
Yes. So, well, that's because next week it's going to be our second annual Ask Us Anything show.
No way.
Yes.
What were you thinking?
We had so much fun with our Ask Us Anything show. Our listeners and friends out there came up with some great questions for us. We want to revisit that again every year. And so it's been almost a year to the day
Wow.
when we did it last year, and we're going to do that again this year. Please send us your questions. It doesn't matter if it's just questions pertaining to the parks, Disney Cruise Line, Disney Vacation Club. If you want to know some facts, information, any tips that we might have, happy to share that. Or if you just want to ask us things like our favorite attraction, if you want to ask us things personally. Now, I will say there are some private things that we may not get into, you know, but we're going to try and be as open as possible
Right.
to you, because we want you to, we appreciate you, and we want, you know, you to get to know us better. And we'd love to hear your questions for us. And I find some of them are kind of funny and fascinating.
Right.
You know, so-
Yeah. That list of what we wouldn't say is probably pretty small
pretty
and
small.
narrow.
It's
Yeah.
pretty small.
Yeah. But okay.
So Michelle will be living in fear for the next week of what these questions will be, but we'll have a lot of fun with it. So please hit us up with all your questions. We'll be putting it out there on social media and, of course, the newsletter all week long, requesting your questions for us, and then we'll answer all of them.
Yay.
Yay! We appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
Please sign up for our newsletter.
please sign up for the newsletter. It's just another way to be in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world. Another way to be in our world is to follow us on social media. Please follow us on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We do have a YouTube channel where we're releasing a lot of these episodes on video format for simpler or sometimes more complex versions. Just do a quick search for Hyperion. Just do a quick search. I'm talking fast again. Just do a
Really?
quick search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Hit subscribe and you'll know whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, we love hearing from you. If you have any questions, well, obviously next week's going to be all that.
We want all your questions
Yeah.
next week.
But if you just want to ask us clarification of something or a suggestion or critique, we love that.
Yep. So please hit us up there. We love any interaction that we can get for you. So that's it. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom,
I'm Michelle.
and we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.